What's up, family? How's everyone doing today? Today's gonna be fun. Today's gonna be fun. What's up, Beefy? What's up, Alex? What's up, Darius? How's everyone doing today? So today's gonna be a special stream, all right? Today's gonna be really special. Let me just go ahead and get the link for this and everything. Hopefully you guys can hear me okay. Just separate this from our actual conversation and then we can get started, man. Is there a way to? Wish there was a way to hide chat or something. We'll make this work. We will make this work. All right, chat. Here we go. Here we go. So, before we get started, I'd like to let you guys know this stream is sponsored by Gryphline. This is a sponsored podcast. I'm going to be having a conversation with Sunil regarding anything and everything regarding Arknights, discussion regarding contingency contract, what he thinks about Limbus Company. We're gonna have a nice deep discussion about the state of Arknights as well as things outside of Arknights as well. Let me see if we can get some nice decent music playing in the background. We're gonna throw on the I don't want it to be the same contingency contract OST. Let's throw on some Arknights contingency contract instead. Ooh, is that new? Ooh, maybe this will work. Yeah, that's a good background. That's a good background. Yeah. All right. So this whole conversation that we're going to be having is going to be revolved around Arknights, but we're also going to be mentioning other gacha games, Limbus Company. I'm going to be getting to know Sunil. Now, Sunil and I have not had many real conversations prior to this. This will be our first time truly interacting with each other. beyond planning this out. I've been a fan of his channel for quite some time. So I highly recommend, if you do not know anything about this content creator, that you guys go check him out. He makes actually good content. I don't mean just random reactions. I don't mean, hey, here's the new thing coming out. He actually has things to talk about. And I think that's what makes his channel different from anyone else's. And that's what makes him someone that I definitely go to whenever he talks about Arknights. So I highly recommend you go to Sunil's channel, check him out. And yeah, we're gonna go ahead and get started. Let me make sure his stream started. Yeah, he started. Let's see what's going on first. This is pretty much his waiting room, I guess. Okay, yeah, it's pretty much his waiting room. That's cool. All right. All right, so oh, I'm excited for this conversation, man. I've been a fan of this dude for a minute. Long time no see. What's up, dude? What's up, Alex?
Hey, what's up?
Hey, Sunil. What's up, brother?
Nothing much. I was just doing my intro.
Okay.
And then somebody's voice came on.
Oh, no, you can still hear me?
Yeah, I can.
Oh, my bad, bro. I just took over your stream, man. Well, first off, I want to thank you for doing this for me. I know it was very, very last minute that I reached out to you and asked you to do this with me. I have been a fan of your channel for a very long time. I've looked at a lot of your Arknights related videos. I'm starting to get a little interested in Limbus, so I've been starting to watch your stuff. Actually, I think it was you that started getting me interested in Limbus, because you made a video talking about both how Arknights and the Limbus collaboration was like the perfect collaboration.
Yeah.
So, I mean, brother, first off, thank you for joining me. Everyone, this is the Knights of Babel podcast, sponsored by Gryphline. I appreciate you all coming through and enjoying this with me. This is just going to be a nice conversation between two content creators getting to know each other, and I just hope you guys enjoy the entire thing. What's up, Sunil?
Nothing much, nothing much.
So, first off, introduce yourself to everyone over here.
Hey, what's up? I'm Sunil. I make videos just about gacha games within general, just talking about whatever I want to, but generally the ones I focus on are mainly Limbus and Arknights, as those are the ones I've been playing for a while now. Limbus since release, Arknights since Twilight of Olamon dropped all the way back in, I think, October of 2020.
I actually don't remember when I started Arknights, because I didn't expect to like it, to be honest.
Yeah, not fair enough, honestly.
Yeah, me and the way that I got into Arknights, this is funny, I've told this many times on my stream. I hated Arknights at launch. I played it for like a good week, maybe less. And I was like, I'm just dropping units down. I'm completing everything. This thing is shit. I'm done with this game. And I just never returned to it. Another viewer named Comey and a group of other people came into the stream about the same, I'm gonna say about 3 years later, maybe something like that. And they're like, hey, we think your opinion is wrong. Just give it one more time. We know the perfect event that you should start with, because based off of the characters and stuff that you like. And I've fallen in love with the game ever since. So,
all right.
Started as a hater, now we're here.
Yeah.
So, first off,
thank you for the 20 gifted subs, Comey Error. I'm sorry, that just caught me off guard.
And there's Comey. That is how she. This is how she introduces herself. I don't know why she does this, but she does this. This is very normal for her.
And also, speaking of subs on Twitch, Foxcloak gifted you a tier 1 sub to me. So thank you, Foxcloak.
Hey, I'm just glad that people are coming through, and I hope that a lot of people whether they see this or discover you through other means, they see how great of a channel yours is, because man, it's just great to see a content creator that's doing something other than just, and I'm speaking about myself too, because I do this as well, just reacting and just talking about the new hot thing. You have topics to talk about and you actually share those topics, and I'm glad people recognize you for those things, because it's about we need content creators that are doing things different than, you know, the nice copy and paste strategy. All right. So I'm gonna get this started with the questions that I have, then we can have a nice casual conversation afterwards if you're okay with that.
That sounds good. Also, just as a quick heads up to my stream, I'll be playing my footage of CC off in the background because I don't really have any
perfect
sort of overlay and stuff to do. So this is gonna be my attempts of doing the CC. But yeah.
I'm gonna mention CC as we get deeper into it, because I do have some questions about your thoughts on it. But first off, I want to ask you, what got you into content creation as a whole?
Mainly I just wanted to create stuff and then have people like, I just wanted to make people's day better when I uploaded a video, and also just share my thoughts about stuff, namely within particular games. At first, when I got into content creation, it was just with the want of like, oh, I just want to create stuff and just make videos people can enjoy. And because of that, I just played like whatever game. Like at the time, I started with making like a lot of Darkest Dungeon videos of just me just playing through it, not like edited, not scripted or anything, just me playing through it. But then with time, I came to understand that whenever I would play a game, I would go off to talk with a friend, and then I'd talk with my friend about my thoughts on the game for like an hour or 2 hours or some shit. If the game was good, if it was horrible, I'd be like, no, terrible game, just wrap it up, get it out of here. But eventually I realized, I'm like, okay, I'm talking a lot about my thoughts when it comes to games. I'm like, I might as well just start making this into scripted videos. And because of that, it then shifted into just how my current content style is, of just scripted videos. Like, that's the only thing I'm going to be uploading, is just a video with a script, editing, music, and just going to be me talking about something, maybe the story within a game, some news that relates to a bunch of different games, and that's pretty much just what got me here.
Man, well, fuck it, I know I'm glazing, but you're doing a fantastic job over there with your channel, man. I really do fucking
glaze.
Yeah, I fucking love, like, every single time that you post a video, there's always someone in the chat that goes, hey, Suno uploaded a video. When did you start playing Arknights, and what made you start to enjoy the game? Like, what is your what made you stick with Arknights as long as you have? Because I whenever I see you talk about it, it's usually in good praise. So what made you get to this point where you enjoy Arknights? Was it just something that you just picked up and you enjoyed the story, or was there some sort of story behind why you started playing the game?
Actually, I started playing it because Genshin Impact dropped globally, and I went to play that, and I played the hell out of it until I eventually just got burnt out. Like, I just played it so much, I got burnt out, and I was like, it was after I went to collect all the regional things. You would go to the towers. I got burnt out of that. I was like, nah, son, I do not want to play this game.
I think I did the
same thing. And then around the time, I saw a podcast I was watching where they talked about one of the members of it having played Arknights even after they did like an advertisement for it. Like, they did advertisement for a video, and outside of that, they played the game. And I was like, you know what? I want to play a gacha game. At the time, I didn't even know they were necessarily called gacha games. So I wanted to play something that was like Genshin. Then I heard that praise for Arknights, so I was like, yeah, sure, I'll pick up Arknights. And then I went to play it, and I found the gameplay so enjoyable. I played it for literally the entire day when I first downloaded it, because you just keep on leveling up and getting more sandy. I played it for the entire day, and I was like, all right, I think I'm going to stick with this game. And then, I mean, at that time, I was just skipping through the story, because early story is so just mind-numbing. So I was skipping through all the story, and just the gameplay kept me interested, until later I heard a lot of people saying, hey, the story is really good. So I went through it and I played it, and I was like, okay, on both fronts, gameplay and story, this game actually has me invested. And that has just kept me playing this entire time.
Yeah, see, for me, it was W's story that ended up getting me, I can't remember the name of the freaking chapter, but
Darkness One More?
Yes. I ended up playing that as the first introduction to the game. W is like my favorite character in the entire thing. I like even though there's a lot of amazing characters in the story, like that's waifu right there. That's
Yeah,
the queen. Yeah, I like crazy, and even I don't want crazy in my real life, so we'll put it on the screen. So with that, we're gonna start talking about Endfield, because this is really what the podcast is about. We're here to talk about Arknights Endfield and what we feel about this game. I think we can both share the same sentiment that the launch was kind of rough. The launch of the game was kind of rough, story-wise and gameplay-wise. We had a certain amount of expectations for it based off of previous tests that we played. Did you play the technical test?
Yeah, I played technical test in both the betas.
Okay, so first off, we're gonna start with that because Endfield is drastically different now than what we thought it was going to be when we played the technical test. What were your feelings for the technical test when you first played it?
When I first played it, I was, okay, to fully remember, it actually has been a while, but I do remember there were some parts of it where I was just definitely not feeling the game. Gameplay was one of them. I did like the strategy you could implement within. At the time, it was you'd be doing lifts and knockbacks and stuff, which kind of aren't in the game anymore. Well, they are, but they're more just there for vulnerability stacking. I believe back then it was you would combine lifts and knockdowns to deal more damage. And I enjoyed that. I enjoyed the fact you could select the skills as well. It gave more time to think about what you're doing behind combat. But there was some stuff that really just I did not like. Dodge in particular.
You mean
I know at this point that's a lot of people. Yeah, I know at this point a lot of people treat that as like a boogeyman within the community. But I don't remember lack of dodge definitely threw me off guard, because there was one boss in the quarry you would fight, and it would have this spinning attack where it would just run at you and spin and do a shit ton of damage. And then because there wasn't dodge in the game, I just pathetically ran away from it, just spamming jump. Yeah, in the quarry. Yeah. It was just a boss there. I don't fully remember behind it. But just
you're definitely not talking about Triagulos. Are you talking about the blue monster?
No, it was well, maybe boss is the most accurate term for me. It was just a strong enemy that you would encounter when you were going through the quarry, and it had like its own sort of arena. It's not anywhere in the final game or I think any of the other beta tests, but I just remember there was one enemy there that just did this spinning attack where it would run around.
Oh,
and I was like,
you're talking about the blue guy. The blue guy that's in this. Oh yeah, I remember. Yeah, he just like would spin straight towards you and then spin back back and forth. Yeah, okay. I was confused.
I remember going through that. I was like,
what happened to him? I forgot about that.
I don't know. I'm glad they got rid of him. The headless axe guy. Yeah, I think he was headless. It's been so long, but
he was headless. Yeah.
This is. I was like, Chief, this is not it. But some of the other stuff they were doing within combat, I was like, okay, actually pretty interesting.
My take on the whole the tech test, I would have actually liked to see what the game would have looked like if they would have developed the battle system a little further rather than leaving us with that very basic version of it. Because I think there was so much opportunity for them to truly make a strategic, like, without it making it an action RPG, just make it something that's vastly different from all the other games that we've been playing. Of course, that's a ship that sailed, but yeah, that's how I feel about it. Plus, yeah, Alex Fjall, where is he? And moving on from the technical test, how do you feel about Endfield now that we've had some versions past what we've played in the previous two betas? We're now at a point where we can properly evaluate the game, right? And we can talk about what the game appears to be like from a final standpoint. Of course, we can expect new stuff to come, but I guess we have a fair amount of information about the game now. So what is your thoughts on Arknights Endfield as a product now?
Okay, as a product, this is pretty broad. Like, anything like in particular to hit up? Because I could talk about gameplay, story, content.
No, this just overall, like, because the story, we can go from story to gameplay and talk about the strategic aspect. Because I mean, I got a bunch of questions revolving around this particular subject.
Yeah. Okay, I would say overall, I do think the game is still pretty good, but it does have two failings as of now. Well, actually,
Okay.
okay, I would mainly just say one failing, but the one failing is kind of a way too broad as of
Okay.
now. So overall, I still do like the game, and I could easily recommend it, except for the problem that there's just not a lot of content updates, especially within this current version. I think, in particular, that is the main problem because in 1.2, the story was actually getting like pretty interesting. I was like, oh, you actually have me intrigued. This is like a good building up of the story. We're actually setting stuff in motion, and hopefully we can get a payoff of it relatively soon. I think they did a great job with it. But then 1.3 dropped, and it just wasn't really like a story with it. There's Mifu's character thing, and there isn't really any big event to play as well, except for CC. CC is genuinely, if this patch did not have CC, I'd be like, what do they even do? And it would be like directly pointed to
Yeah.
Enfield. But CC has genuinely saved this patch because it is amazing. But outside of CC, because I don't think it could carry the entire patch, especially with how long they are, there just isn't too many content updates, and that I would say is the biggest problem with the game.
Do you
Because
have?
there are stuff where
Sorry, continue.
I was gonna say there are stuff like, with the story, I do feel like they're building up towards something, and I do feel like it'll have a really good payoff. But as we go through patches without the story, it's like, well, that payoff's gonna take even longer. And we get to the point where it's the idea starts setting in of just Enfield's story is bad, because it's been so long before the story gets to a payoff. I'm used to waiting for a good payoff because I played the original Arknights, so I'm like, I could understand how it'll take them time to cook, but when you have like slow updates, like okay, it gets a little rough.
So
But
you
you're
made it. You made a previous video talking about the attempt to make a real game in the form of a gacha.
Mhm.
Do you still? Well, first off, what was the motivation behind that video, and could you share how you feel about that particular topic now, in regards to the game feeling like an actual game in the form of a gacha game?
To make that video, I mean, I don't know why in particular. I suppose I just played a couple other story-based games, and I was like, man, I played the game from beginning to end, and the thing is, I just finished it, and I was like, man, it's been a while since I played a story-based game where I finished it. Now, granted, the story-based game I played then was Trails, which that's probably the closest you can get to a
Trails,
gacha
man.
game, because hey, I only played the first one. I'm waiting for the remake of the second one. But even then, that's probably not the best example of a game that finishes, because the first one directly goes like, okay, so the second one, though, that will continue the plot. It's like the most gacha actual game you can play. But, the fact I finished the game, I was like, damn, it's been a while since I've just seen a game story like wrap up. It's like, I've been playing all these gachas, and the story within them has been good, but it's always been like, wait for the next event. So because of that, I was like, okay, I want to make this video and just talk about my thoughts. Especially as I feel as though I do look at the story updates within a lot of gachas, and I just go like, okay, this is being done because you're a gacha game and because you sell characters, but it overall hurts the story of the game. What was the other part of the question? Or actually, do you want to expand on that?
You actually answered it very well, to be honest. The one thing that I feel this game does very well is its gameplay loop. I do like the gameplay loop, but I do feel like the problem here is once you run out of some of that loop, you're kind of waiting for that next patch. So that is a problem. There's nothing to do once you're done with the loop a certain amount of times and you've met the what's the word I'm looking for? Not the requirements. You finally reached the end of your daily tasks. Yeah. So with that, now we're going to move into combat. How do you feel about the combat system in the game? Once again, we talked about the technical test. Now that the combat system has become more action oriented, how do you feel about the combat now?
I do really like it because it is more action oriented, but I still feel as though strategy is a big part behind the game. And that drives it to be a strategy game that is very active, so you have to constantly think about what is the best thing to do. For example, I'm not gonna lie, I hate using Genshin as an example because I feel as though whenever it comes to gacha games, everyone's like, so what about Genshin? Did you talk about Genshin? How does this relate to Genshin Impact?
I
And of
always
course,
try
already
to
some
avoid
people
it.
have their,
Yeah.
yeah, but it does come up as like a good example, but also like people already have their minds made up of a Genshin, so if you say anything in praise or hating it, you just get, all
You're
these
gonna get shit
different
either
opinions
way.
just from that. Yeah. But, when it comes to Genshin, I did eventually get pretty bored of the combat because I can't speak on how it is now as I haven't really dived into it too much. This is back during like Sumeru time. And you just go into combat and I'd be using like Hu Tao's team. And I'd be like I'd start with the Elan, I'd use her E, use her Q. I'd go to Kazuha, use his E, use his Q. Go to Layla, use her E, use her Q. Then I'd go to Hu Tao, press E, left click, left click, left click, and just that was it.
Oh wow, the left click.
And I'll do that for every single fight. Like every fight in the game I'll do, it would just be that same exact rotation. And the rotation isn't too interesting. It's not like a rotation you would find in like Final Fantasy 14 or an MMO where it's very complex. It's just very simple. So it'd get very boring. But in Enfield, I wouldn't say that's the case because you look at the CC. At least for me, I didn't just stick to a static rotation and follow that. It would change heavily. I use Levitate for all my attempts, and the question would be, okay, how many stacks does the enemy have? Do I want to use this? Do I want to use this character skill? Do I want to heal?
You're using Levitate in your shit?
Oh yeah, I use Levitate. Yeah.
I felt like her moveset is too chaotic for me to pay attention to everything.
Oh no, I was fine. I've been using Levitate this entire time.
Oh, so you just for main content too, you've been using Levitate?
Yeah. I mean, for main content, it gets a little annoying because she is just a character that only exists within her ult. But for this CC, I was like, oh no, she's pretty damn good. Granted, I think Zhuang Fengyi is probably better, but I didn't roll for her because in the what's one for in like the test server when I played through the store early because I was doing an ad for that version of the game. I used her there and I was like, she's just another alt character. I already have Levitate, so I didn't pull for her. But yeah, on this one I just used Levitate the entire time, and she did well enough. I was able to get to risk 30 as of now.
You're at 30. Okay, so I'm a little bit behind you. I'm only 27. I was getting so heated, bro. I'm so under-leveled and underpowered. I'm purposely staying at level 80. I have not leveled up any of my gear is, I have the right gear on my characters. I just haven't, leveled up the gear in any way, shape, or form. I have not gotten any, I've gotten some essences for some characters, but not the perfect ones. So I'm literally running as if I'm crippled the entire time. And I think that's where I'm having the most fun with it, is I'm trying to figure out the right way to play without all the proper setup. And I'm doing everything I can to prevent myself from getting to level 90 to get to level 40 or risk 40. So
yeah,
I'm having so much fun with that. What's your full team comp?
Full team comp: Levitate, Wolfguard, Akikuri, and AF Ayala.
Okay.
Yeah. In terms of like build, I pretty much, the only one I really have heavily invested is Levitate. She is max artifact weapon and max artifact gear as well. From there, everyone else is just kind of like, they just got a bit of stuff. Like they got their optimal gear, but I didn't go much further than that. Like their weapons aren't really etched because, I mean, like when it comes to Wolfguard, I just stare at him and go like, bro, Camille's dropping in 3 patches. You're not staying in this team for long, brother. Like you're not. Like Camille's gonna drop and you're gonna drop out of the team, or maybe Akikuri, but I think I might just run Akikuri.
So you're excited for Camille, huh?
Oh yeah, I am. I'm not gonna lie. When this patch dropped, I was like, bro, please have Camille first, and then it was Mifu, and I was like, brother, I'm probably not gonna use her. Now, granted, I was able to get her. I got her from the free pulls, and I was like, shit, I don't mind if I do. But I'm really just waiting for Camille to drop. Like that just he has me a lot more intrigued.
I'm excited for Arcane, bro. I've been wanting Arcane since she was first introduced. Like you could tell the moment she dropped on the screen, she was going to be a playable character. And
yeah.
I was hoping, and I think they've shown great examples of this now. Some characters don't have to be stuck to a certain move set just because they have a certain weapon. Example, Feng Yi.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that she has this chaotic moveset with her guns and shit. Maybe turn it into various different weapons. I don't know. I don't know how she's gonna play. I'm excited for it. I'm so excited for it. Is there another character that you're hoping to see? Maybe anyone from Arknights?
I mean, if it's gonna be reconveners, give me Exia, Lemon. Give me anyone that I still constantly use on my Arknights team. Yeah, Exia, Lemon, Mastema I wouldn't be against. Dagenbreck would be pretty fucking cool. Virtuosa. There's a lot of characters I'd like to see.
Oh, Virtuosa is
the main one would probably be Virtuosa would be really nice. Main one would probably just be Exia though.
I wonder
if she drops in this game. Oh god, I'm getting pot 6.
I wonder how Virtuosa would even work in this fucking game, dude. She would have to, because the way
a new element,
yeah, the way that I would think of her, she would be a character that stays on field and just like provides buffs and stuff in the background. No one that just goes up into the character's face trying to attack them.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe providing some sort of AoE or something that buffs everybody. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know how that would work. Or clapping everyone on the field at one time, but that would make her just straight up broken.
Yeah.
All right. So, what type of improvements would you like to see to both? We're going to start with story. What improvements would you like to see to the story? What are the biggest critiques that you have for it, and what improvements would you like to be made?
I feel like in terms of improvements that I want to see, it does just the big one is just release more. Like as simple as it is, just release more, because I feel like a lot of the critiques I would have for the story would come from mainly how it develops further on, but that just comes from the problem. We just don't know how it's going to develop further on. There is general stuff I could say of, definitely like, especially within Valley 4, you could see this, of just the main cast being very static, of like, you pull up somewhere, there's some problem, Peruka comes in like, man, hey, we're Enfield Industries, we know you have a problem, whatever, just say this in the most static way possible. All right, Edmund, do something about it. And it's like, all right, it's, well, we see it so much, and it's like, okay, we can't get anything else, like, because as of now, the cast just doesn't feel the most dynamic. I would say there were times they felt like actual characters within 1.2. But even the highlights of 1.2, when I think of the highlights of there, I'm like, oh, it's when we're talking to Ardashir, which is not the full. This isn't the reason why it's good, but it just so coincidentally happens we talk to Ardashir when we're separated from the rest of our group, and it's just us and Ardashir. It's like, oh, it's kind of unfortunate for them. So in terms of main problem, I would say just lack of updates and the cast not feeling the most just interesting as of now. Because you can look back at like OG Arknights and it's like, damn, within the main story you have a lot of characters who are just very interesting. In particular, Chapter 14 and how it plays off W3 saw that. All supporting characters, all incredibly interesting to see develop in Chapter 14.
Yeah. I think the biggest issue for me, right, is it kind of feels like maybe this is just because the game is more developed and it took a little bit more time for them to get to this point. But Arknights kind of feels like it doesn't rely on a singular character for progression. I've seen a little bit more of people noticing this now, but I don't like how Inman is the only important figure there. There's no independence between any of the other characters in the story. They all feel like they need Inman in order to do anything. I would like for there to be some storylines that dive deeper into the characters, the different factions, maybe even different locations, maybe visit Terra again for if it's ever possible. I know the gate was required for that, but yeah, it'd just be nice to see more deeper character development between all the characters and make them all feel important, instead of just, hey, Inman, what do we do next? Like, that is the part that I feel is lacking the most. I would like to also see Yes, there is so much lore in the files, but I'ma just keep it a thou wow, man. When you have that much lore just in text, there's not going to be many people who dive into it. I can dive into it and think it's amazing, but the artistry of it is seeing it in action.
Yeah,
Seeing
even
these
as someone
things
who really
happen.
likes the lore, I'm just
Yeah.
like, brother, I don't care to just sit here and read this. And that's not even just an Enfield thing. That's just games in general. When I'm playing a game, they're like, bro, you gotta read like every book you come across. I'm like, son, I do not care. I'm deeply sorry.
Like, even if we go back to using the Genshin logic, that's actually part of the reason why I stopped playing the game. I have a friend that is so deep into Genshin, and she reads all the books. She reads everything that's involved in the game, and she knew some of the things that is in the game now was coming a while ago because of the books. There was nothing I was not going to read all those books just to find out what was coming next.
Yeah.
I would love for the infield developers to find a way to dive deep. Like, I know they're doing manga outside of the game and some small story plot points in text format, but I would just like for them to develop a full story for each one of the characters, something that lasts much longer than a 2-hour playthrough. Something that will give us more about where they come from, why they're the way that they are, the biggest tragedies behind them, and don't include the Inman in this at all. I want to learn about that character and play as that character or a group of characters. That would be fantastic in my opinion. And now, what improvements would you like to the combat?
Actually, for combat, I would say like after the CC, I actually don't feel like there's too many improvements I would really throw out when it comes to this combat. Yeah, no, I actually do quite like it. I mean, there are times where targeting of skills can be very annoying.
I was literally going to say that.
Yeah, but like, I remember there was one CC I was doing. I wanted to hit an enemy in front of me with Levitane's enhanced skill, you know, his beefy enemy. And then she just literally launched straight past it, like did a wave dash to hit the squishiest enemy that had like 1 HP, and I was like, what are you doing?
Ruined your whole run.
Yeah, like I would say the targeting is one in particular, but I do think there is something to be said that even though the targeting as of now and not being able to aim it is a bit unfortunate, the fact that combat is not defined around that, like it isn't always the case of when you go to cast a skill, it's like, oh, where do you want to aim it? It does make it feel a lot quicker, and to me personally, I think that adds more to it because I do like the fact that it's very strategic and then also very actiony. So you have to think on your feet instead of just being like, okay, let me just slow down time, let me think about what's best to do. That I do like. So the idea of being able to aim something is nice, but I also wouldn't want it to restrict the flow of combat as of now. So that one I'm like neutral on. Like, give us an ability to aim something, but like don't make it slow down the combat because I think the flow as of now is pretty good.
Hold on 1 second. You guys are gonna see double chaotic inception for a second.
All right.
Yeah, I'm putting up my CC runs because that was a good idea on your part.
Yeah. I'm looking at some of these pass runs. Like, man, I was doing this shit terribly. I mean, for a good chunk of these runs, I was so stupid. There's that one tag where it's like, if you do an arts infliction on an enemy, they take 90% less damage from that source from that character for the next 10 seconds. And my dumbass read that and went, "Oh, but Levitane doesn't apply any heat. Let's do that. That's free." I completely forgot in her ultimate she applies one, and that was like so many of my runs just with 90% less damage.
Brother, I'm just gonna tell you straight up. I am 1000%. I'm already a dumb person, bro. Well, I am 1000% dumber when I'm streaming because there'll be times when I am sitting here and I'm like, wait, that does not make sense. And it's always when I turn the stream off because I'm always paying attention to the game and whatever people are saying or whatever. I just feel like content creators just grow dumber as they're playing, like they're streaming the game at the same time. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just me.
This is true. Yeah.
Yeah. So, one of the suggestions that I would have for the developers, and this is coming from someone who enjoys Xenoblade Chronicles, that is like that whole series is just fantastic. If you have not played it, yes, it's a Switch game, but I do recommend it highly.
I
Um,
have been wanting to get into it because I did hear the story is pretty good.
well, I hope you have time because each game is like you're gonna be spending hours. Like I think each one of them I've spent well over 100 hours.
I mean, I've played all the Persona games, so that
Oh,
doesn't worry me too
you're a
much.
vet.
Yeah.
You're a vet.
Yeah,
Okay.
as long as the story in the game is interesting, I'm like, "Alright, you got me. I'll keep playing."
The story is definitely interesting. Even there's people who didn't even like the second game, and as you get deeper into it, you're just like falling in love with the story and the characters as you keep playing. But one of the things that I recommend um, that the developers add to this game is the ability to signal players to do shit or enemy or your teammates to do shit. So
Mhm,
instead of just having them just run up on the enemies and do stuff, I would like to say, hey, prioritize healing instead of me just controlling everything. Prioritize healing, prioritize this, prioritize that. That would change the way the gameplay structure would be drastically. Yes, that would take away from some of the control that you have to some of those characters, but I think that just comes with how the game could progress in terms of the gameplay structure because if they allow some of the characters to have skills that only they can activate by signal, that would be fantastic. Because then
mhm.
you have to pay attention to more. You'd have to strategize with your teammates. Hey, um, focus on this enemy. Don't worry about that one. Focus on this enemy. All the teammates are focusing on that specific enemy. Um, inflict vulnerability stacks on this enemy, and then you're just paying attention to the right timing and as to when you're going to use your abilities. So, I mean, there's just some general idea stuff that they could test out. If it doesn't work out in testing, then understood. But I would
Mhm.
just like to see them give that a shot. Some sort of
Yeah.
control over the AI in some way, shape, or form. Um, I'm thinking that's a little confusing because of the freaking double text. Whatever, it's fine. Um, all right. So we've already pretty much been talking about contingency contract. My next question was going to be, let me know your experience. I guess there's a way I could still ask you this question.
Mhm.
You said you're on risk 30 right now.
Yeah, yeah.
How far do you think you're going to be able to get with your specific team? Do you think you're going to be able to max risk it?
Well, this team, I can see myself probably being able to hit up 35 because I will say the attempts I did on 30, I only had a few seconds left. I think I had 30 seconds left maybe on my worst 30 run. So there definitely is a
Room for
worry just I
improvement.
won't have the damage when I start taking stuff like more HP, less attributes. But I'm do hoping now when Camille drops, if it'll just iron itself out there. There are
S-
some I could easily take that won't impact how long it takes for me to clear. It'll just be I need to get better at the game. Namely the one where when you get hit, it takes away some of your max HP by like 30% of the damage you take.
mhm.
That one I had to not take because I would just keep going getting hit every now and then, and it would eventually get to the point where you just get one shot by
Yeah,
anything. And
I've
because of that, I was
been
like,
victim
okay,
to that. I've been actually using
yeah,
that risk many times, and I think people in the chat have been telling me to take it off because I'm getting hit a little too much, but I'm stubborn.
yeah.
I'm very stubborn.
Yeah,
Um,
but someone like that, like that's worth 3, and I could easily take that, and my damage wouldn't change. I just need to actually do better at dodging the enemies. So that one is like an easy enough one to do.
that's kind of a catch 22 as well because there's actually a risk where you have to you can't dodge at all. And I'm feeling
Yeah,
like
that one. Yeah,
eventually we're going to have to do that.
yeah, that one. I was like, yeah, I'm not touching that one. And then there was a 50% stamina regen decrease, and I was like, I don't know about that one either.
I've been using okay, that one it is harder, but I have completed some of my runs with that one. And mainly it's just you're going to have a vanguard. That's just the you have a good vanguard on your team and you'll be fine.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
But I mean, the main
even though the
a
actual
big problem I have
stamina,
with that.
even though the running
Mhm.
stamina is what it's affecting, having a vanguard on your team to make sure that you're getting the ability so that some of those abilities can help you. For example, Mifu pulls enemies in. I've been using that as a
Mhm,
way to avoid some of the attacks. So,
mhm.
like I said, stamina is the best way to help you with some of that.
Yeah, makes sense. I use Levitate, and one problem with taking the decreased stamina generation is when you use her combo skill, you can cancel the end sort of lag of the animation. By
Mm-hmm.
the second she impales the ground, you just dodge, and it'll still do the attack. So I've gotten so used to doing that. And in this one, I take the one where your combo skills have like negative 60% cooldown, and I would keep on doing the animation cancel, and I would just have no stamina to actually dodge because I'll just be doing that all the time as I'm just so used to it.
Yeah, I'm learning not to, especially after I started. People are seeing me actually get close to running out of stamina and getting hit as we're talking about this. Um, um, yeah, I feel like the fact that this game has some of the risks that force you to learn to mitigate some of that some of those, what is the word I'm looking for? It's not mitigate. It's teaching you to pace yourself instead of just spamming buttons. Um, don't spam your dodge. Don't spam your attacks. Hey, this specific thing, you're not going to be able to spam that. Find another way to deal with your damage or lead up into that attack so that when you use it again, it doesn't affect you that much. Like there's so many things that this contingency contract is teaching people. The only thing is that I fear that contingency contract is going to be um, the only place where any kind of real strategy is applied to the game.
That would be yeah, that is a pretty understandable worry because
Yeah.
Umber Monuments not that difficult to be honest. Umber Monument's just pretty easy. Like, I don't there's been some stages in Umber Monument I've been like, "Oh, this is actually pretty difficult, you have to work around it," but it's not anywhere close to the contingency contract.
Yeah, I was a little bit worried going into CC that I would clap it just like like Umbria Monument. Don't get me wrong, there's times in Umbria Monument where I'm getting clapped. But I always like figure out what's happening and adapt pretty quickly. CC, it's the solution since especially since I'm under geared, is change your team. Find out where you're what
Yeah.
you're lacking and change your team. And
Yeah,
it's
including Estelle in your team, yeah.
yeah, there's so many things that it's teaching, and I think that this is where the strength in this specific game is going to play is when they apply more strategy to it. I have been seeing people complain about it being very hard, and I think that's what this is gonna
That's
be
kind of the
a
point, right?
yeah, this is gonna be a bad take to gotcha gamers, but I think that's what gotcha needs, honestly, because every single gotcha game that I've played within the past 2 years, it's managing your account. I don't want to manage an account. I want to play a video game. And
True.
if all gotcha is managing an account, then I think it's time for me to go back to normal video games now. Because
Yeah, yeah.
I need difficulty. I need things that's gonna make me think. I'm dumb as it is from just spamming buttons. I need something that's gonna challenge my thought process. Okay, so with that, are there any other modes from Arknights that you would like to see?
Integrated strategy.
I knew you were gonna freaking
Integrate throw an integrated strategy, brother. Yo, if you just give yo, I just integrated strategy, just do it in Enfield. Give us genuinely insane amounts of content that just one game mode. That's all we need. You won't hear me complain about lack of content updates. Just give me integrated strategies. That'll keep me fed for like a couple of months.
Okay, let me ask you, how would they have to execute it? And because remember, this is an action game, this is not a tower defense game. How would they have to? How would they be able to integrate integrated strategies? Wow, integrate integrated strategies.
Yeah,
Shut
yeah.
up. Um, how would they integrate this into infield in a way that would actually be uh, not a quick, a, a long experience, but still providing a fun experience for players?
Wait, not a. What do you mean by not a long experience? Like, not
I
make
know,
the
not
runs
a short.
incredibly
Sorry,
long?
not a short experience. I misspoke. Not a short
Oh, okay.
experience. Um, while also keeping it fun for players. I like if you have it. If you have an event that's long, usually people complete it within a day and then it's
Mm,
over. How would they be able to
yeah.
implement IS in a way that would
I
withstand?
think they would have to, I suppose just do it more so like Honkai Star Rail does all of their roguelike game modes, and also probably a bit closer as well to how PGR does their roguelike game modes. Though within those, I don't have the most experience playing them as I'm not gonna lie, from what I did play them, which a couple of years ago now, I wasn't too insane about them, but that comes into some other problems I have with how PGR's gameplay is of just being like, in the roguelikes, it would really shine itself of just constant animation spam of all your ultimates where you don't take any damage and just demolish the enemy. But it would have to be closer to both how Honkai Star Rail does it and PGR does it. In terms of wanting to keep people around and playing, what they could do in particular is just tie rewards to different endings you can get in it, and also just collecting like a bunch of different, to use Honkai Star Wars as the example, a bunch of different curios or simulations and stuff like that. Just more stuff to chase within the game mode. And then for actually interesting content that isn't just, oh, fill out the checklist of stuff to get, I think that's where different endings can come in and also higher difficulty modes as well, like how they just have in integrated strategies. I think you have that, you tie rewards to it, not even necessarily just pulls, like just tie rewards of like banners, profile stuff you can do, just stuff like that. Medals, well, medals I don't feel is shown too much within the game because you have to go all over to somebody's place, but just tie some rewards to it. And then when you have like 4 different endings of an IS and you have up to D15 in this game, that's going to be a ton of content for people to play.
I actually have a okay, so I've been holding this from my stream because I've been wanting to talk about this with you. I actually have a way that they could do this, and some people will agree, some people won't. But I think this is a perfect opportunity for them to tell stories from Arknights and introduce those stories into Infield so that players who have not played Arknights will get a gist of that story, very important events that work with Infield, and have to complete those stories to get a full understanding of what's happening in the story. So characters like Amiya, her storyline with Doctor, Calcit's storyline, W storyline, just stuff that's important. Babel, the entire storyline with Babel and Theresa, and yeah, just there's so many different things that they could tell in a nice presentation while also giving you some enemies, some characters to play with. This is a perfect time to introduce reconveners in a way that would actually be valuable to the storyline. Um,
True.
like there's so many things that they could do with old lore, and then as we start to get caught up lore wise from the previous game, um, they could show how it ties in with Infield through IS. So they could
Yeah,
continuously
that
tell
actually
these
would be really
stories.
good. Yeah.
I just think that's a good opportunity for them. Um,
Mhm.
it's they're already kind of introducing characters that are from the old game. Um, Hold on one second. Knox,
All
no
right.
rumors are not allowed here. Comey, if we see any rumors or anything that has been leaked, Instaban. I'm sorry. I gotta be careful with this stuff. I don't want to ruin anyone's experience with any of these games. All right. I think that yeah, I think adding IS in that kind of way would be valuable to not only the new players, but it'll be valuable to players who are already invested in Arknights, have already played the stories, but want to see these things told in a different way. So,
Yeah, I would really like that, especially because just the idea that some people are playing Enfield without any pretense of the stuff that happens within Arknights. As of
mhm,
now, hasn't been too many problems. But I know in the future, if they do any huge callbacks to Arknights, some
mhm.
of the people who just play Enfield are gonna be like, home. And it's
Yeah.
like, damn, that's just gonna suck. So
Well,
no,
we've
actually, that
already
that is a really good suggestion. I would love to see that. Yeah.
we've already kind of just the mention of Terra was like a huge like what the fuck? Just a lot of people. What the fuck is a Terra? Like, and then
Yeah, true.
we get a little bit of information about it in text lore and in the story a little bit. They've mentioned Rhodes Island. What the heck is a Rhodes Island? Like, it's like
Yeah, yeah.
there's so many things that they've mentioned that just has no weight in infield just yet.
Yeah, and
Um,
probably also Levitane's story when you see the art of Suitor from Arknights, like the
mhm.
one Ash drew, just the base profile and also just all that stuff. It's like a lot of people are probably like, "Oh, it's weird. Why she look different in that?" Instead of like, "Oh shit, it's a callback to Arknights," you know?
Yeah, and I just think, that might even push away people because that context is missing. I understand that it's a huge W for us Arknights fans, right? But the,
Mhm.
um, the infield players, the dedicated infield players who have never touched, Arknights and are not interested in it because it's a tower defense game, there's so much value in retelling these stories. Yes, it is a more development time, but this is a fantastic opportunity for them to tell more story in a way that will be valuable to all players
Mhm.
and provide a good gameplay experience at the same time. So hopefully they'll see this and do
Yeah,
something
yeah,
about
that
it.
would actually be quite nice. Yeah.
Yeah. So also I would like to see them honestly. Okay, I'm gonna say this here. I don't care. I hate that this is a gotcha game. I hate that it's a gotcha game. I would 1000% love to see them treat this like an actual game, and this is how I'd like this to be done. Um, I would like them to make their money off of skins. I would like them to drop this as a large experience with a good gameplay loop. Um, and expansions that come later. So, for example, they drop a massive story patch. This is like let's say February. February they have enough content to last you up until their next content drop. With some events that might be able to keep you like the factory and stuff like that. Um, and then their next experience will be like another huge bunch of lore in one expansion that's about 60 hours maybe, and they just keep dropping expansions like that. Of course you wouldn't get them every month anymore, but one, this allows them to have more time to develop aspects of the game, make more content for the game, and two, it allows them to come up with more more I can't think of the right word. It allows them to come up with ways to monetize the game in a way that's healthy instead of relying on characters and then selling characters to people. And then we can earn the characters through the gameplay, play them in the game modes with actual difficulty behind them, and have a full-on experience. I just kind of would like that kind of model instead of gotcha. It actually free
Mhm.
like I don't get me wrong, I love the game, but I just feel like the biggest weakness is because of the specific model that they chose.
Yeah. I mean, I
Yeah.
can definitely say that's the case with a lot of gotchas, but there does just come the problem of, is the monetization method viable when you're not a gotcha? And the hope is that it would be, but I don't know. Like in reality, it is difficult to fully know. I mean, or at the very least, even if it is profitable, it's not going to be anywhere near as profitable just as a gotcha game is by existing.
I guess
I think
that's fair.
Limbus is probably actually, I would say Limbus is probably the closest you could get to having a gotcha game that is just treated like a regular game. If they were to do something along the lines of Limbus, I wouldn't be half bad. But Limbus also does have a bit of problems with content updates not dropping terribly frequently.
Dude, wait, they have content drought in Limbus? I've never heard any
Well,
I don't know much
it
about
would be
Limbus at
like,
all. I'm gonna just be honest with you.
yeah. I mean, the content drops wouldn't be like for the 2.8 patch in Limbus company. We're doing it's more so just like, hey guys, we're dropping a Kanto. Here's the CEO going on stream with a VTuber model talking about the new Kanto is gonna be dropping. Hey guys, like 2 months after that, we have like a short story intervalo for you to do. Hey guys, after that, here's a railway, which is kind of like their version of CC. But it wouldn't be anything like how you would
Hold
see from a
on.
regular gacha
Stop
game.
there. Hold on. You can't suddenly drop that and not expect me to ask questions. They have a version of CC
Well,
in Limbus
I would
currently.
say version of CC within the sense that it's difficult, but not within the sense that how it plays, because you don't choose your own difficulty tags. You don't necessarily choose your own difficulty tags for to buff up the enemies. It is just a collection of very difficult fights. There are some stuff you could choose, like some of you could choose buffs for the teams you'd be using and stuff like that. But it's more like CC, not within the way it's done, but within the sense that it is difficult.
Okay.
There is also Reflector Trial, or however you pronounce it. Honestly, that one, the people who play Limbus,
Reflective
or
what?
it's like Reflect Trial, I believe it's called, or Refractal. I think it's called Refractal, but actually, I don't know if it fully is. The problem is when it comes to that, man, I'm actually yet to even play it. I know it's pretty difficult fights within Limbus, but I just never got around to playing it. Yeah, it's just like a really hard boss you can go, but you can go against. But that one I never got around to playing it. I heard my friends had some they had some choice words for the bosses within those. But I've never gotten around to playing it just because when that dropped, I think I was midway through being addicted to like some other game I was playing that I thought was really damn good. Whenever that
Mm,
happens, I'm not gonna lie, just the only way I engage with gotchas is like, oh, let me just come in, do my dailies, and just bounce and play the other game.
okay. And this is actually I'm gonna ask you one more like Arknights question. Then I got
Hmm.
Limbus stuff for you because I'm
All right.
actually curious. Um, all right. So, how do you feel about the connection between Arknights and Arknights Infield? Do you feel like it's a detriment to the game? Do you feel like this is great setup? Like what how do you feel about it? Because I've seen a lot of conversations about it being a weakness. I've seen people talking about it being the best part about Infield and how they're setting up for good lore. Like I just I want to know your feelings about them incorporating the universe that's already existed and the lore that's already existed into Infield.
Say as of now, it doesn't feel like the really went hard into it. Like as of now, there is that connection there, and there's stuff to nudge it towards it. But they haven't gone terribly off in the ballpark of like, yo, if you've played Arknights, this game is just majorly different. You know, there is some stuff that you would have to have a different reaction towards, like we discussed prior, but they definitely haven't treated it like a sequel to a game, like just playing a game right after another, where it's like you need to play the prior one. And I think if they were to go that far into it, it would create some problems. Like I do remember when the first time around I got to trying Metal Gear Solid 5 and The Witcher 3, both those games I played, and as I was playing them, I was like, I hadn't played the prior games of any of these series. So I felt as though I was just lacking context and it kind of took away from the game because I was like, they're saying all this stuff about the characters. I'm like, I don't know what. And there would be that worry with Enfield. If they really go full off into referencing Arknights and all this big stuff that's happened in Arknights without taking the time to explain it within Enfield, a lot of people could just feel like the story isn't meant for me. I'm not enjoying, or the enjoyment I could get from the story is being neutered by the fact I'm yet to play Arknights. And that could create a bit of a problem because people wouldn't be able to enjoy Enfield's story fully on its own unless they were to go off to play Arknights, which with all the content in Arknights currently, that would take
It's a lot
like
of work.
that's like a year of playing through the story. Like that's going to take a minute. So as of
And
right now,
that's if you're
the link between
dedicated
them,
to it. That's if you're
yeah, that's if
dedicated
you're
to it.
dedicated. Yeah,
Yeah.
like as of now, the link is pretty weak. They haven't fully dived into the stuff behind Arknights. Um, they've just given like references, stuff that if you had the context, it does improve on the story. There is stuff that I know they're going to like. They're definitely going to prioritize that connection more within the future. But if they were to do too much, it would be a bit of a worry. I'm thankfully I do remember one worry people had prior to Enfield releasing was that if they go fully into the sequel aspect of Enfield, as in like, oh, this is after Arknights, some people were worried that it would take away from Arknights' story because, like, oh, if Oripathy is cured, then it's like, what are we doing in Arknights? Thankfully, within the current story of Arknights, it's progressed enough to where Oripathy being cured isn't exactly like that isn't what the plot revolves around. Like, there's so much more within the world. So
Yeah.
I'm not worried too much about Enfield spoiling what could happen in Arknights, unless Hypergriff just gets incredibly careless with what they show in the story. Like, unless there's some very just direct, like, here, we're gonna spoil you now. I'm not actually that worried about the conclusion or finality of Arknights being spoiled by Enfield.
Well, they've also even directly said, and I would say hinting, but he directly did say that there are more games coming in the Arknights universe too.
Yeah, that does
So
make sense.
yeah, so it kind of makes sense that we wouldn't get that finality of the story in infield because there's supposedly more.
Mhm.
Who knows what that's gonna look like? Um, that's a whole different conversation because I'm really hoping they make a Dark Souls Arknights game. Talk like literally a Dark Souls Arknights game with the theme of Castle talking about nothing but uh, uh sarcasm and Castle lore. Like that would be
Mhm.
freaking fantastic. But yeah, that's a whole
And
different
actually, wait,
conversation.
Comey just brought up a great example. Right now, Enfield is kind of like Limbus to Library. Library of Runners being the prior game Project Moon made before Limbus Company,
Hmm.
where the plot only exists because of OG Arknights, and we will eventually get there, but it is unnecessary and explained retroactively. And yeah,
Mm.
that's like pretty much how it is. Like Limbus, Library of Verona to Limbus is also much within the same case of you don't need to play Library of Verona, but it would enhance the story if you do prior to playing Limbus.
I've seen Comey
But that is.
playing it like
Mhm.
in like just the name of it popping up. I've only heard of it through her. So
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, Library of Verona is like just like a full game they drop before Limbus, like not a gotcha, just a full game they drop before Limbus, and yeah, it does add to the plot, but definitely not something that's needed.
Okay. That would be a cool way to enhance the plot line for everyone, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
Hold on. There was also, let me get this. Cuz now I'm just going to give you a moment to gush about Limbus Company because I'm actually very interested. Um my question's going to be very general.
Mhm.
Um what is it about Limbus Company that attracts you to it so much? Because whenever you've talked about it, um in your videos, it's always with the greatest of praise, just like you do with your Arknights videos. So I'm gonna give you a moment to just, if you were to tell me, if you were to try and convert me to play to play Limbus Company, how would you do that, and why is it such a good game?
Story. That's just the main one. When it comes to the gameplay, I don't particularly like. I don't care about the meta. I don't care about how does this boss play or what. It's the story.
I knew you were
Like
cool.
that is just the
You're
the entirety of like that. That's just how I am with like most games. Like my favorite game of all time was Persona 3 FES.
mm,
Prior to Reload dropping. And the gameplay in that game was it was horrendous. I mean, like it genuinely made me want to pop a blood vessel whenever I had to utilize the AI companions, and they would just be stupid as a can of bricks. Like that the gameplay in that game was horrible, but the story was amazing. And Limbus is much within the same way. Not the gameplay being terrible, thankfully not, but within the sense of just it's the story, just all and above. Even if the gameplay was as simple as like one of those puzzle games you'd have on your phone where you gotta like move the blocks around to put the square in the square hole, like the story being as good as it is still that's just the main selling point of it. Um, and in particular, like when I hear games have a good story, I'm a little skeptical. I'm like, okay, do you mean the story is good or do you mean it's good for a game? Uh, and I remember
hmm.
when my friends, when I was interested in trying out Expedition 33, I was talking to my friends who had played, and I was like, okay, well, how good is the story? I was like, good for a game or a good story? And they said the story is good like Limbus, and I was like, okay, you had me, and I went off to play it,
Brother,
and I
that
was like,
game
okay,
made
you got
me
me.
freaking cry. I that game
Yeah.
that when a game can like, I'm gonna just be honest with you. The reason why I have such hard critiques when it comes to gotcha games is because I've seen the same type of story so many times that it doesn't affect me
Yeah.
emotionally anymore. When I was
Yeah, it's
playing
true.
Honkai Impact Third, I was crying like a bitch. Like it was like just so emotionally like It had you invested in the characters emotionally. So when something happened to the characters, you felt it.
Mhm.
Um, and I haven't felt that way in a game in a while. So then when playing Expedition 33, brother, I was floored. And the way that it started, the fact that the beginning like hits you with a loss like it does. I'm not gonna spoil it. Um
Yeah.
hit you with a loss. I'm talking right after chapter one, right? You know what I'm
Mm.
talking about?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So that that I was invested from the moment I passed that moment.
Oh, yeah. No, I thought you when you're talking about the beginning, I thought you were talking about, like, the start of the game, and, like,
Now that
honestly,
was
when I started like, the start of the game was good, but honestly, not even before, like, the big moment at the start, when I when I booted up the game, and it was playing that initial cutscene, and I heard the music playing in the background, I was like, "Alright, this game's gonna be good." Like, there's just some stuff where I hear the music, I'm like, "Okay, yeah." No, I'm like, "I know this game's gonna be good." I feel walks in, feels the aura. I was like, I could tell this is gonna be good." And then as I just progressed further through the game, I was like, "Oh yeah, this is definitely coming from a team of nerds who loved Final Fantasy games." And then when like,
yeah.
I'm gonna make my own. Because as I'm playing through it, it's like, oh shit, it's just like I'm playing through Final Fantasy X for the first time or Final Fantasy VII for the first time. Like, shit, I love this. You know?
I know this is off top, but did you see the Final Fantasy 7 reference in the game?
An Expedition 33?
Uh-huh.
I don't think I remember. What
There's
was it?
there's quite literally the Final Fantasy 7 symbol in the game. You just have to angle yourself in a specific location and you see the Final Fantasy 7 symbol. It's a
Okay. That one I actually didn't know of. That's pretty
yeah.
cool.
Yeah,
I think the
it's
only
so
reference I
dope.
really caught on was the Bleach one.
Remind me? I might not have seen
It
it.
was one of the weapons for
Oh, the
Verso is just
ah,
like one of Ichigo's weapons.
I
Like,
didn't get it. I didn't get that weapon, so
yeah,
I learned about that later. Okay.
yeah.
Don't you only get that from one of the fights with no, it's not wait, who's the weapon for? Maybe I haven't seen it yet.
It's for Verso, I'm pretty sure. But honestly, I don't remember like where to get it.
Hold on.
But yeah, what do you call it? Back to Olympus. I would say like another part to bring up is like, the problem with Gacha Store is it's all like we got to sell a character, so we're doing a new story. Okay, we're gonna have to sell you on this character.
Sorry, I haven't seen that weapon. Never mind.
Oh yeah, that one. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Okay, go ahead.
yeah. But yeah, a lot of gachas would be like, okay, we're gonna drop a new character this patch. We're gonna make a story that wants to sell you on this patch or on this character, so you would roll for him.
Mhm.
And because of that, a lot of the time they go to sell a character, it's like, okay, let's just make some depressing shit. Like literally, you just go to play a new patch, and it's like, here's a character you've never met before. We're gonna just give them some depressing story, and we're just gonna make you try to give a shit about this. And a lot of times it fails because like, why would I care about a character I just met?
Yeah.
You know, it's like like you meet them 2 hours later. It's like, oh my god, my life's falling apart. It's like, brother, man, I don't care. You know, I'm not invested in you. You do not build up this character enough to actually make me care. Now, there are some games I could say with good writing that have done that, have introduced a character and then throw depressing stuff at you and it actually hits. But you need really good writing to do that. Like one example that would come up is the Overzone story from Nikkei. That was very well written, so they did a good job with that. But a lot of gotchas do just fail at it. But Limbus thankfully doesn't have that problem as it doesn't introduce any new characters for you to pull for. You just have the same cast of 12, and that has continued with the game through like 3 years now. Or like, you know, ever since launch. It's the same cast of 12 characters. We're gonna build these characters up. We're gonna make you give a shit about them. Then we're going to have very sad moments with them, and you will be invested. And thankfully, the sad stuff isn't as it aims into more like philosophical things. Like there are a lot of parallels you can make from the sad stuff that is presented within Limbus to how life is just in general. So it's not, thankfully, it's not as simple as like, you know, some Sasuke ass backstory of like my entire clan was destroyed. It's
Sasuke.
like not some shit like that. So I would say because of that, Limbus has done a very good job. Like it being written within a way that isn't terribly standard for a gotcha game, and it being written by a lot of writers who are just very, very damn good at their job. That is why Limbus has done so well. And of course, already invested within the general world they have going on because the two prior games before Limbus also just very good, very well written, and had me invested.
You and Comey, man. I have it installed on my phone, and I just have not really. I played it at launch when it first dropped, when the server issues were taking place and stuff.
Yeah, yeah. When the
But
source code of the game was leaked, yeah.
yeah,
I don't know if you know about this story. They literally, when the game dropped, they had a folder that said like, "Do not ship this in the final version," and it had just the entire source code in it. Oh my gosh, it was a disaster.
they didn't do that.
No, they did. They did.
Do not ship this in the final. If someone just found it,
Yeah, well, they found it. I'm pretty sure they went into maintenance mode where they gave a quick little update, removing that folder that shouldn't have been shipped in the final version. That was so goddamn funny.
oh man, has it caused any harm for the game? Because usually that's fucked. After
I
that,
mean,
it's
that's back all the way during release. I don't know fully what has happened from it. I do know people have private servers and people have mods. I don't know how much that initial release of the code had contributed to it.
mm,
Um, I know from then there has been a lot of efforts to sort of shoot down the data mining of the game. Um,
yeah,
but
they're
I don't know
doing
how
that.
much that initial leak did hurt it.
Mm, yeah, man, I'm actually thinking about diving in. We'll see what happens. Okay. Now, I do have another Arknights related thing that I want to ask you. Hold
Mhm.
on. This was in my notes. Give me a second. All right, this revolves around the factory. It's actually two questions. How do you feel about the factory system in the game, and what is the biggest setbacks for the factory system within Arknights Endfield for you?
I feel pretty good about the factory system. At first, it wasn't as complicated as people were hoping it was going to be, but I was just like, guys, it's a live service game. They don't want to they don't want to throw you into the deep end immediately. Like they're going to give you the simple stuff and then later on make it more complicated, which we've thankfully seen. So overall, I do feel like the factory system is pretty damn good. In terms of like worries I would have, I mean, if anything, I feel like it would be more of a personal case of just, kind of what I said prior of sometimes there's just a game I really want to play and I just fully go off into wanting to just, oh, let me just play that game. And because of
Mm,
that, it gets to the point of like, a lot of gacha games I just log in and do my dailies. But in the case of Arknights, let's say a big factory update drops, I'm like, son, I just want to play the other thing right now. Like I'm invested in this other game, just let me focus on that. Because of that, I might just be like, oh, let me just get a blueprint. And because of that, it's like, oh, I feel like I don't engage with the factory system as much. But that's not something I necessarily think can be fixed. It's just sort of a problem of it. If you're going to have a big factory system in the game that you would want to interact with, if your player does not want to interact with it immediately because they're, let's say, busy within real life or there's some other games they want to play, they're going to look for any shortcuts they can, either whip up a video guide, whip up some blueprints, and then they feel like they won't be actually interacting with it. So overall, like I do really like it, and the complexity we have as of now, I think is good. Also, wouldn't
hmm
be against them making it more complex later on. But the main problem would just be sometimes updates drop and I'm just not as invested in playing it because I have other stuff going on. But
Yeah.
that's not something I fully think can be addressed. Although
So
actually I will say I also feel like I wouldn't be against them doing more events that are like the one they did where you had to was it gourds, I think they're called? Where you had to make something in particular. Like I wouldn't be against seeing them do
the
more
event that
stuff like
someone
that.
just mentioned that oh no, he's talking about Head Night. Yeah,
Yeah.
so yeah, I would like more events, but damn, that was freaking easy.
Yeah,
That was
that was like the main problem. I was like, let me go set this up. I dropped down like what was it, like five, six things in total. It's like, oh, it's done. I'm like, okay.
I mean,
Like,
mine was not optimal in any way, shape, or form. It was not close. In fact, I was losing out on other things just to make the thing that I needed. And all I did was just turn off a whole bunch of stuff and focus on just making that. And then I literally got everything from the shop.
yeah. Like, I suppose it is. a bit of a problem. Like you can't make it incredibly complex to make because then you would get in the way of like the factory is already optimized around making the stuff within that area. So if you just suddenly go like here's an event where you have to take up like half of your factory area just to make this thing, it would create a lot of problems and be really annoying. But that is just something of like, it's I would want to see more
Kind
events,
of,
but
kind
just
of.
doing like a few things is annoying. Yeah.
I kind of see it differently. I don't think any factory is meant to be permanent or meant to be there for long periods of time. Um, I think they always want you to try and find ways to optimize or make it provide the most materials that you can obtain uh, in the I'm gonna just use the word optimal because I can't think of the word I want to use.
Yeah, fair
Um,
enough, fair enough.
optimal way possible. So with
Mhm.
that being the case, I think their expectation it with the events is for people to delete some stuff that maybe they don't need, or maybe they make a sacrifice to get set one thing over another thing. Um, Maybe they just simply want to give you an ultimatum. Hey, do you want these rewards, or do you want to keep up making the things that you can end up obtaining later? Um,
Mm.
I think the whole goal is to make players make that decision. Um, that would force players to continuously interact with the factory at least a little bit longer. Because even with that event, we've been seeing, oh, we're done with it, okay, and then people just blueprint their thing back when they're done.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
But I feel like if that choice is always presented there of like you have to choose one, the event or more permanent stuff, I feel like it always just will be, oh, do the event stuff and then just when you're done, blueprint it back.
mhm,
So I think it is a little unfortunate. I mean, actually, what about like, let's say they were to drop a factory event,
mhm.
but make it so you don't need to put it within your current existing factories. You would go off to this new area. And then in that area, you would fully build out the factory there, sort of from scratch. And you would build this complex thing to get um, whatever material you need to make. So, not the Gourd event, where it's just a bit needed. Like, they give you an entire new plot of land just for whatever the event um, creation is. What about that? You
That
don't need
would
to
be
worry about too much of the space. You can make it incredibly complex and just give people content to dive into.
that would be interesting. So you're just saying just a land that's dedicated to events and other stuff. Wouldn't that take away from the entire experience though? Because
Well, I
if
feel
they're
like,
go ahead.
yeah, yeah. Oh no, you go, you go.
If they provide a space specifically for events and make things um pretty much make that choice a little easier for players, doesn't that take away from, hey, do you need this right now? Do you mess with your factory? Remove these items. Make space for this. Taking away that ultimatum from the players just kind of, I don't know, makes the whole part, that whole aspect of the factory much easier.
Yeah, well,
Like,
that's the thing. Like, I feel like there is the ultimatum there, but as is just the case with how events normally are in gotchas, it's just always optimal to go with whatever the event says. So I feel like a
mhm,
lot of people would just go, let me blueprint tear down this and just go off,
yes,
make
that's
whatever I need
fair.
for the event and throw it back in. But if they were to do its own area, I'm thinking maybe the plot of land could be relatively small. And
Mhm.
then it could be very complex for what you need to make. So you actually need to be incredibly efficient with it. And maybe even within that, who knows? They could maybe even turn off blueprints specifically for that area. Now, granted, if people still want to skip it, I mean,
Ooh.
just whip up a Kyo guide, whip up like whatever. Oh, let me go on Reddit. This is what you want to do. But maybe something like that could be interesting, Because the Gourd event, a bit too simple. I feel like if they were to make something that takes up like half your hub area to make, people would just get annoyed by it. So maybe its own area could be an interesting choice to do for the factory if they would want to like dive more into events for it.
I think I'd be on board with the new area, especially if they turned off blueprints.
Yeah, yeah. I think it could be pretty interesting.
That would
Turn it
that
off
would
just for that.
just for that location. And
Yeah,
that's
just for that event. Yeah.
and whenever events take place, yeah, that would actually be interesting. That'd be
Because
cool
I
as
still
hell,
do think I
actually.
still do like blueprints being put in the game because it's a live service. People have shit to do, so it's not like, let's say, Satisfactory, for example, where you engage with it on your terms, like whenever you want to play the game. So I think blueprints are good for the game. But if we do want these events for the factory to feel really meaningful and like big things, maybe just for those event areas in particular, just turn it off. Or at least turn off sharing. Probably still keep it for the personal use of just copy pasting whatever you'd want to do. Like if you have to make all these different refineries, just copy paste it. But share, like, turn off sharing. Maybe that could be pretty interesting.
So, like for this new area specifically, you can only build specific things in this area. Sharing is not allowed, so you can't just take someone's blueprint and just place it down. You would at least
Yeah,
have to make every aspect of it yourself, even if you're watching a video. Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Like people who still want to skip it, they're just gonna video it, but at least it
That
would
still takes
still be there
time.
for. Yeah, it still would take time. Yeah. Especially because a big problem of the game is just lack of content. So if you do come out with this meticulously crafted event where you have to do factory stuff, and somebody just opens up the menu, presses like F1, I think the button is, and like, oh, let me just go to blueprints, publicly share. Well, let's put in this code. It's like, oh, okay, well, there goes all that content.
I've used the blueprints only when I'm not certain of something that I'm going to do, and that's pretty much it. Like
Yeah, fair
I
enough.
don't interact with blueprints enough to really. I can't tell you how the sharing system works.
Mm.
I don't know.
I've used
Um,
it in times where I'm just like, I got other stuff I want to do.
yeah, I've after seeing all the guides that Kaio does, I'm just like, yeah, if I'm gonna use if I'm gonna use sharing, I might as well just take Kaio's guide, and I'm doing everything in my power to just learn it myself.
Mhm.
All right, so if there was any suggestions, like if you had a way to contact the developers right now for Infield, and there was a suggestion that you wanted to give them, like some actual critical feedback about the game, what would it be?
I feel like I just keep going back to it, but just more content. I just need more. Okay, I need two things. One, I need more content within the version updates themselves, and two, I need more permanent content to play.
Hmm.
Um, just stuff where it's like you get into the game and it's like, oh, there's so much stuff for you to do. Like Honkai Star Rail. I've gotten into that one again recently. I'm thinking of playing through it, maybe making a video giving my thoughts about it. And I just open up like the events tab and I look at just all the permanent ones they have, and it's just so much to do. And I'm like, hey, as a new player, it's actually pretty nice. It doesn't feel like since I haven't been playing throughout all this, I've missed so much of the game. There's just so much to do, so much rewards to get. Now, some of those events, not gonna lie, some Honkai Star events very boring, boring as hell. So I don't think we need to be going overboard with the quantity of events, but making very high quality ones. I would like to see that.
Okay. The feedback I have is because I mean I think you're very on it when it comes to the quality of events. My thing is I would like them to give it like the old Final Fantasy treatment. I would like to see secret bosses in the game, stuff that people would have to discover, and have them add these secret bosses to the game every 2-3 patches. Um
Mm,
and these bosses are mechanically heavy. Something that you don't have to do, but something that would be very rewarding to players if they do it. Like give them some sort of medal or something that shows that they accomplished this task. Of course, secret bosses people will end up making videos of where they are and what how to beat them and stuff, sure. But I think the reason I'm saying this is because I would like to see right now, whenever it's revolving around a story boss, we get something that's still very much easy. And
mm.
in a case where sometimes the players won't even see all the mechanics that the developers have implemented within the game.
I think that
Um,
was me doing Nephra fight, and like in the most recent update, I just Sutra just eviscerated her. I was like, I skip a lot of her mechanics
yeah,
because I just chunked her HP down.
see, that's exactly what I mean. I would like to see them do things that can't be skipped. Like
Mm,
full on, even if you have to like Crota raid that shit. Like if you get the reference from Destiny.
Oh yeah, I do. I've played
Yeah.
Destiny. Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Like I would like to see like, hey, a bunch of enemies are spawning, bosses in the back. Um First, no, sorry, I gotta read this. The first step is they need to stop spoiling their bosses in their live stream. Yes,
True.
that and the
True.
story. Um, uh, yes, multiple enemies are spawning. You have to try and take out as many of these enemies as possible. Bosses in the back, throwing waves of like sword waves at you, and you have to dodge them while still defeating these enemies. And then all of a sudden, a gate on the left spawns. You have to figure out what this gate is and what it does.
Mhm.
Oh, you have to start bringing enemies over to that gate because it swallows the enemies in, and enough of those enemies get swallowed in, it fucks up the enemy's shield. This is your opportunity to attack the enemy's shield. Second round, it's a whole different thing. The enemies are still coming at you, but they know to avoid the gate. What is that? What do you do? Oh, now it's an elemental gate. You have to use a certain element or a certain thing in order to to bring that shield down. Just mechanics, man. Things that you cannot avoid. You have to do
Mhm.
these things in order to do damage to the boss. And if they manage to make bosses like this and you're not forced to do them, the players that want this kind of challenge will get rewarded, and the players who don't want to do this shit can avoid it. It's not a part of the
Mhm.
story. It's not a part of an event. It is just something to do if you want something like this in the game. And hell, they were talking about Factory having co-op. Um, there's so many challenges that they could come up with Factory that would be beneficial to players. So, I mean, I could sit here and come up with weird shit for this game all day. Like one at it as Adsis it has said multiple times to me in here and outside of of stream. He said that he wants an actual tower defense. Like he wants to see tower defense with Arknights Endfield characters in Arknights Endfield. He would like to see what that's like.
Mhm.
Like that would be dope. So I don't know. There's so many things I could come up with, and I just feel like they've barely scratched the surface on what fully mechanical strategic uh what a fully strategic game would look like if they just invested the time to make those mechanics in the game. So that's my feedback. I want to see mechanically heavy shit.
Yeah, true. So like pretty much like a Destiny raid light, pretty much.
Yeah, that would be cool.
And then also probably just drop the bosses, sort of like how Whisper of the Worm was, just unannounced, just something in there, and the community has to be like, "Oh, what's this?"
They could look. I can even give you how they do it. They just drop it. They drop it in a random patch. They don't tell
Mhm.
anyone. They don't show anyone where it is. They nothing. Don't even put it in their live stream. Just tell people, hey, there's secrets that people haven't discovered yet. And then an ARG pops up on a random day, and they continuously have players will have to figure out what this ARG is for. And all the ARG does is lead you to something that's been in the game for weeks, months, and you haven't discovered it.
That would be pretty cool. That does sound something that is pretty nice for players to, like, come together on.
Yeah, that would
That I would be pretty
because
interested in
we
seeing.
already have a community of ARG ARG people who are heavily involved in ARG for Arknights. Just
Mhm.
having someone who think think of this. We have a boss in the game. It's in some nook and cranny in the world that no one has discovered, or there's a specific order of things that you must do before you can even see this boss appear in the location. And they don't tell you. You just happen to see in one of the live streams that there's a boss that they showed that you don't know where the fuck it is and you've never seen it. Like they're not showing you mechanics, they're just showing you a model.
Mhm.
And this is like them hinting that something's in the game. Okay, you still haven't found it? Here's an ARG. A whole website that you need to log into. You need to decipher a whole bunch of code and discover things that are in Arknights Endfield story in order to find it. Maybe they're mentioning something that migrated over from Terra over to Enfield, and you have to go to specific locations to find traces of it, and that leads you to the boss. Like that shit
Yeah,
would
yeah.
be dope.
That
Like,
kind of
am I
would be,
the
yeah.
only am I the only one that thinks that sounds dope? Like, I
No,
want
that
shit
would be
like
pretty
that.
nice. Hmm.
And imagine how much work that would force other gotcha games to invest into their game, because there's something that's so mechanically heavy and so hidden that this is the only place you can get that experience. Hell no, other
Mm.
games would want to do that in a heartbeat. Yeah.
Yeah, true.
All right, brother. Those are all the questions that I have for you. There is there was a channel that I made. There wasn't many questions that were put in here, but I'm going to quickly go to the Discord real quick. And guys, I do have a Discord dedicated to Arknights and Arknights Infield, just a place for us to talk about Arknights, enjoy anything related to Arknights. Just a nice little community for people who just enjoy the Arknights universe. The link to that is in my description if you guys want to join that Discord. Um, Now there was questions. Um, this one is from Iffy. Does Infield have the potential to create icebreaker games in Infield?
I like the icebreaker from Arknights.
Yeah. Would you
I would say, I
what do
would
you
say
think
so,
about
yeah.
that?
I would say so. It wouldn't be as simple as Arknights because just with Arknights being a 2D game, it does make content updates and drops very simple. But in terms
Mhm.
of just making stuff that you can do with your friend co-op, yeah, it definitely has a potential too.
Okay. And that was Iffy that asked that question. Frontiers asks, how do you think they can improve on the end game? We kind of touched on this, but I'm gonna go ahead and
Hmm.
let you answer this. These are questions for you, not for me.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, I would say more content update, but main thing, permanent game modes like integrated strategies of just. I mean, you look at Arknights, integrated strategies existing has provided content for the game for forever. Just whenever you want to play the game, you can just do it in that, and they're all different enough, and there's enough fun builds you can do to where it doesn't really get stale.
Hmm.
So, main thing I want to see to make the end game of this game improve, integrated strategies, or just something similar like that of just a big permanent game mode that is just fun to play. Like you don't need to play it for the rewards, although there would be rewards as well. You just would want to play it.
I mean, they could give you character mats and shit just to stack up on. Because I mean, isn't that what it
Yeah,
does
yeah,
in IS on Arknight? There's like a leveling
yeah, pretty
system,
much.
and yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, like character mats, and then just like UI stuff as well. You can get, but yeah,
okay, maybe they could. That would be a way for them to integrate skins too, like some free skins.
yeah, yeah. I kind of am still surprised they don't have skins, to be honest. Like, I feel like did they say something like they didn't plan to?
No,
Y'all gotta change on
they
that.
said at launch there won't be any
Okay, that makes
skins.
sense. Yeah,
So I think they
there's
have
got to
the
be some way
intention
to
to
do
do
it.
it, but maybe there's a specific game mode or something that they're waiting for. I have this huge
Mhm.
suspicion that 1.0 is their testing ground. Maybe this is me being conspiracy theorist in a way. Um, I think all of this is meant to be super experimental. I mean,
Mm.
version 1.0 all the way to whatever 2.0 is. I think all of that is meant to be experimental. 2.0 and on, sorry, 1.0 to 1.9. 2.0 and on, I think that's when we're finally going to see them get super experimental with the game, and where we're going to see the huge shift that players saw in Arknights when things started to get very story heavy, a whole bunch of new game events that people fell in love with. I think that's when we're going to start seeing the game's true nature, the longevity in the game. It's just I
Mhm.
have nothing to back that. It's just a feeling, because it's just for how much money they put into this game. There's no way they're just, hey, here's a new character. Here's a side story for the character. Here's
Yeah, yeah.
there's something here, and it's just I can't wrap my finger around what's wrong here and doesn't make sense. It just kind of feels like they're trying. I don't know. I have a feeling they're doing something else and they just keeping it a massive secret. And if they do it
Mhm.
before 2.0, win. But I'm anticipating something is going to be drastically different for 2.0. Maybe a half anniversary. I don't know. I don't know. Something's off. Um,
Mhm.
all right. Due to this is another person who's always in my chat. So since we'll be getting gas as the next main source for the factory production soon, what do you think the next steps will be?
I don't know in particular. I'm trying to think about when gas was used in like Satisfactory because that is like I feel like a fairly good reference point, but pretty sure in that game it was only used for energy. But I can definitely see some gas oriented around like moving like using the gas to move stuff, like maybe move stuff for energy purposes or move stuff for other buildings. Like I could definitely see them using it more as how sewage is like a byproduct, but as of right now, all you do with that is just send it to like a water treatment and you're done, right?
Yeah.
I could see them having gas be used as like, okay, take this, send it to this machine, it powers this machine and has it able to do something else. Or even actually somebody in chat said turn into liquid for production. I could see gas being used a lot as a something to engage with as like you get as a byproduct of making something and you need it to create other stuff as well.
Maybe add some verticality to it too.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, there could be some verticality added. Um I'm skipping this one.
All right.
um I think this person's just joking anyway. What is your opinion about receiving Clue 7, specifically Clue 7s? Not for any particular. I don't know what that means.
Whenever I get all the Clue 7s, I hoard them up and I just send them back to the person who sent them to me.
What is he
I'm
talking
not I'm not
about?
I'm not I'm not It's
What
just
is
how
Clue
everyone
7s?
spams out Clue 7s. It's just like it's Clue you just get all the time, so everyone just spams it out.
Oh, in the okay, no, in the ship.
Yeah,
Got it.
yeah.
Okay. I'm like, what are they talking about? A Clue 7? What?
Yeah.
Um Also, what do you think of the rate of character building account progression thus far? Too slow in some parts, too fast in others, or just right?
I would say it's just right. At first, a lot of people had worries about it being too long, but I was like, I know how OG Arknights is. At first, getting an E2, like your first E2 in Arknights, that takes forever. And then you have a built account and you eat two of them the same day you get them. So like I felt as though like yeah, it's probably going to be the same in Enfield, and I would say it kind of is. I mean, for the most part, I've just been like at this point, I've just been since I've been rolling for too many new characters, I've just been farming up a lot of the resources in preparation for other characters, and I would say like I'm already pretty good. Like all the ones you get from Crisis drills, I have like in the 200s or 300s of those. So yeah, like I'm not. I think the progression of characters is like pretty good.
Okay, I'm gonna ask three more from here.
All right.
All right, so let's skip this one. Um, we kind of touched on reconveners. I'm gonna ask anyway. Also, what do you think about the future of reconveners?
Like a future in what way?
Vampy, you have an opportunity to elaborate in the chat. I'm gonna skip it for now, but you have an opportunity. I will read it out to him.
All
Um,
right.
um, what is the biggest? Wow, what is the biggest unanswered lore question in the game that you would want them to expand about more?
For Enfield,
Yes,
definitely just. I mean, it's something that's going to be expanded on, but definitely Artishear's group, all that relation to that in the Enfield. Also curious to see
that's
just
definitely
what's
gonna
going on
happen.
with the Northern Portal. Yeah, like that's definitely going to happen. Also interested to see stuff about the Northern Portal and if it would relate back to the collapsals from Arknights. So those are stuff I'm curious about.
Okay. Here's Comey. Of course, I'm surprised Comey isn't really talking in here. She's probably in your chat. Um, what what would both of you think about raid content similar to we kind of just touched on this, didn't we? Similar to
Yeah,
Destiny,
yeah.
whether it's solo or co-op that rewards with special weapons themed around boss. Ooh, with special weapons themed around the boss provided as rewards same with gear. Specifically, more gimmicky and puzzle solving over damage and traditional base con. Ooh, if co-op, each class serves a genuine purpose, like defenders can protect against certain boss attacks and stun them, or in general, certain classes have certain jobs throughout encounters. Also, okay, first let's start off with that because that's loaded. Um, what do we think about raid content similar to Destiny, whether it's solo or co op, that rewards with special weapons themed around the boss provided as rewards? Same with gear. So gear and weapons that are that you can only get from this specific boss. Um, More gimmicky boss mechanics and puzzle solving over damage dealing. So maybe elemental stuff or a puzzle that is only solvable on the field of the boss. Yeah, what do you think about that? I have some thoughts. That's fire. What do you think?
It would be nice, yeah. I'm definitely for getting stuff that is more, gimmicky. You have to figure out the strategy behind it and play in accordance to that. That'd be really nice. And also just getting more weapons and stuff. Like that's just always good. More options for people to use in terms of weapons, especially if just they look pretty cool and are related heavily to the boss. Yeah, I would really like that.
Yeah, and they could also a way that they can make this valuable, Comey. Um, don't make them geared towards any specific character. Make them something that can work on a group of characters if played a certain way. That would also encourage players to use different gear that originally wouldn't work on a character, but the weapon would probably make that character would make it work on the character in certain instances. For example, um, maybe a weapon could allow someone to consume more stacks and the gear more stacks of some sort of element, right? And
Mm.
the gear would allow you to contribute that towards a specific thing like buffing or um, attacking. So you gain some stacks of electricity from doing your basic attack, and those stacks could be used to, instead of your ultimate doing an attack to an enemy, it would buff your teammates since you have this gear on. Like some weird shit like that. Like that would
Mhm.
completely change the dynamic of a character. Maybe even use that as uh, I just thought of something. Maybe not
Yeah.
gear, maybe modules.
True. Yeah. No, true. Getting modules from them for the characters. Yeah.
I'm literally describing modules as I'm thinking about this. It's something that changes the way the characters play. Modules.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
Especially with how modules have that whole like, oh, do this stage like within this limitation.
Mhm.
Something like that for Enfield, but do this boss.
Yeah. And the rest of the question is also, what do you think about fights where elements serve a more specific purpose? For example, affecting stuff like the environment, affecting stuff in the environment like electric can do increased damage to enemies in water or electrify the water. So now that it creates an AoE or something, affecting certain enemies like electrifying water angeloy and blowing up enemies that use gas with fire attacks. That
Yeah,
would be
that would be nice.
interesting. Yeah, that would be
It
fire.
just reminds me of the elemental system from Genshin, which has always been like my favorite part of it. I think the elemental system is just really good. So yeah, I would be fine with seeing arts being expanded upon to affect more of the environment. Like that just seems pretty damn nice.
I've always been saying that I'm a fan of environmental mechanics. So maybe a boss would have like pipes around him and you use like some sort of attack, maybe it would be like electricity or something to blow the pipe in order to do it a specific type of damage to the enemy as they come towards that pipe.
Hmm.
Just weird shit like that. Just environmental effects that enhance the way you defeat the enemy. Give more options other than just attacking him. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, I still don't say. Oh, this is Veppy. He said this is regarding the reconveners question. future as in more lore about the reconveners, how they came to be, regulating them, relating them to Arknights, how also future reconveners that would likely come next. We kind of touched on the future conveners reconveners that we would like to see, or at least Suno did, but go ahead and answer that question. Future has in more lore about them, reconveners, um, how they came to be, relating them to Arknights,
Mhm.
and also future reconveners would be coming to the game.
I think, yeah, in terms of which ones are likely, I could definitely see just, I mean, Arknights just has operators that are incredibly popular. Namely, like I would say a lot of the ones that were launched with the game would be there. So Exia, Silver Ash, Chen. Those are just like those three I could see reconveners. Well, maybe not Chen story wise, there would be a lot behind that. It'd be like, there would be a bit of worries with that. But in terms of like Exia or Silverash, incredibly popular, I could easily see reconveners for them. A part of me was about to say AFEL until I'm literally watching footage in front of me of AFEL or reconvener, so that one's already in the game. But I think any character that's incredibly popular is an easy enough shoe-in for it. And in terms of expanding the lore, Levitane's character quest has honestly been some of the best writing within Enfield. If we were to get any reconvener content that is like anything within the direction of how that was,
Hmm.
of both showing how they're different characters and how Levitane is branching off from how Suter was, like just because they're a reconvener doesn't mean they are
The
tied to
same
be the same
character.
person. And
Hmm.
then also expanding on the lore of the original character and actually giving her lore, which I'm just gonna say she always had the lore, but it was just never at the forefront, so nobody actually knew or cared about it. So that one both expand on Levitane's lore and the original character's lore, and that one was really good. Like anything in the future,
I
if we get
agree.
reconveners that is like Levitane's character quest, that good by my books. But also hearing more about the intricacies behind it, how they come to be from the originating force, that also would be interesting.
I would honestly, this is me personally. I would love to see, and I said this earlier. I would love to see them use some sort of game mode. IS would be a good opportunity to speak more about things that happened in Arknights. This would give them an opportunity to add value to reconveners. Right now, um, we kind of have some story for some of them, but it's like none of it is like valuable, in my opinion.
Mhm.
With the exception of Surtur, you're right, that was a fantastic story.
Yeah,
But Gilberta, what?
yeah, it's not nothing
You know what I
really.
mean?
Yeah, it's like,
Yeah,
all right,
like
brother.
it's cute. You know what I mean? It's cute,
Yeah.
but and sometimes we need cute stories in the games. But I would love to see something a little bit more serious from her because she's a very happy go lucky character. I would like to see some predicament to that forces her into a very rough predicament and make her more serious for even just this event, learning more about her past self. I guess she knows a lot about it already. I don't know. It just feels like some of these are just there.
Mhm.
And I would like to see them make more serious events about them learning about their past selves or something. Yeah. And the last one that I'm gonna read, and it's sorry to everyone that I didn't read your questions, or some of you guys asked multiple questions, and yeah, I just got to make sure I get to some of them. Um, do, 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 do. Do you mm, do you do you think we'll ever get an entire story patch where the end meme is nowhere to be seen? And yes, the inmin. Um, I feel like the story bits where we're only using specific operators with no inmin are the most interesting ones.
I
Basically
think I'd
saying, are
like
we
to
going to
see
get
it.
any story without inmin in it?
I would like to see it, but it is hard to say if we're gonna because we've yet to see anything like that or like any like a full blown story without the Endman. But I would like to see it because I also do feel like constantly trying to tie the Endman or protagonist of a gotcha into something is like it gets a little much. It's like, oh, what's the justification now? We just had to have the protagonist in here. It's like, so I would really like to see stories that can exist without the Endman, especially as it would do a great job of expanding other parts within the world.
Mhm.
without needing to spend time giving us a justification of like, oh, they got here because they did X, Y, Z, whatever. So it'd be nice. I just don't know how likely it is.
I think that adding storylines without the Enderman would allow there to be a lot of setup for events that are going to happen in the future. For example, we've already met M3, who we're
Mm.
assuming is just monster. It would be obviously in the very beginning of the story, she said there's something else that she had to go do. Um, when we had all that monster lore happening in Arknights, that would have been a great opportunity for them to show what she is going to do, um, how it ties in with um, Terra and her past self, or maybe even cults it. Um, just something completely separate from the current events happening in the story, and that way there's less filler for the main story. And when they actually have something valuable to provide to the player in terms of the main story with Inman, they could put it in one large story patch, something that won't take just 2 or 3 hours to complete. So yeah, that would be dope if they would just do more with the characters outside of the Inman.
Mm.
All right, brother. I genuinely appreciate you taking time to talk to me. I don't know where you live or what your time's like, but I literally did this on a whim, and you've been very accommodating to the time and everything. I appreciate it. Um, we got to have more talks like this. I would love to talk to you about more stories as the game continues progressing. Assuming you continue playing it as long as I plan on playing it.
Oh yeah, I'll continue playing it. Yeah,
Yeah, so Sunil, it's been a pleasure, brother.
it has.
This is our first real conversation too. We've been just planning shit. Like it's just been, hey, are you available for this? Are you able to do this? Like
Yeah.
I was really excited for today. I was thinking about this shit all day. So thank you, man. I'm gonna let you go. I'll hit you up after I'm done with my stream. Just have like a
All right.
small talk with you. But
Mm.
yeah, man, thank you so much.
No, it's been fun. Thanks for inviting me.
No problem, brother. I hope you have a wonderful night. If I don't get to you tonight, I'll just hit you up in messages and we can talk. There's something I want to actually bring up that I can't bring up on the stream.
All right. Sounds good.
All right, man. You have a good one.
All right. You too. Bye.
Peace. Guys, that was Sunil. Um, brother, that I was literally really excited for this, dude. I was really excited for this. I'm glad things turned out okay. I started stuttering a little bit. That was a little bit of fandom in there. Thank you to Gryphline for sponsoring this stream. I plan on doing more streams like this with other content creators. Maybe in the Discord, you guys can suggest other content creators for me. Please, no other content creators that I've already spoken with on this channel. And yeah, it'd be fantastic if you guys join the Discord and interact in there. Um, I'm gonna end the stream here. You may see a video of all of this in the future. A little bit more pieced together and condensed so that people can digest it without watching the entire live stream. And yeah, thank you guys for joining me. You all have a wonderful night. Stay healthy, stay safe, stay chaotic. Love you guys. I'm probably going to be going live in like an hour or so just to do more CC stuff. And I hope to see you guys there. Peace out, everyone.